All right, my sweet angels, we're going to talk about energy cords today, energy cords and cords cutting. Such an important topic, such a deeply misunderstood topic. The amount of nonsense that is out there online is just mortifying, and questions that you sometimes ask me about that process is truly mortifying, scary, terrifying. It terrifies me to my very core, what people do out there and what people charge for, and charlatans. Okay, so let's address this. I don't want to go into details when it comes to what are energy cords. A while ago, I've done a really in-depth video, sort of a one-on-one deep dive into energy cords. You can find that on my YouTube spirituality, healing and spirituality playlist. I've described types of cords, how are cords created, how are cords severed, what it really is, energy cords, all the information that you need. So you should actually start from there. But what I want to say today is the ceremonies of cords cutting, okay? If you feel, okay, let's maybe take a step back. There are two ways, and two ways only, that cords between two people can be created, okay? One way is a soul contract, karmic contract. If you have a contract with someone that you will meet each other in this lifetime for whatever reason that is, it can be a beautiful relationship, it can be a karmic lesson, it can be a course correction, whatever that is, it means you have a karmic contract or a soul contract, right? And that itself, that alone, connects you energetically. So you can find each other through different types of cords. Some of these cords are sort of a weak, let's say, and you call for each other to actually meet and initiate that contract. Some karmic contracts are so strong that the cord is actually visible in your energy from the day you come to this earth. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to go there now. But this is how the cords are created, through karmic contract, through soul contract. Second way that cords can be created is through actually spending time with each other. So this is why I always say to you guys, especially powerful, sacral energy exchange, intimacy with anyone immediately creates energy cords with this person that are not easily dissolved, okay? Especially for women, but for men as well. Not easily dissolved, right? If through cords, especially those that go sort of a sacral to sacral, you literally exchange all your baggage and all your traumas. And again, I'm not going to go into that topic. So you have those two ways, right? And obviously they can be combined, because if you have a soul contract with somebody and you meet this person, you start spending time together. Maybe if it's romantical, you start having intimacy. So additional cords will be built and they're going to be strengthened, right? So I've explained in my one-to-one video that what actually creates those cords as well, when we talk about being physically with someone, is your energy that you are sending towards this person. No matter what this energy is, your thoughts, your emotions, your words that you say about this person, they create cords, okay? So I'm going to give you a specific example that sort of got me going, right? If you come to me and you say that you have this ex-partner and you can't shake him off, and just it's been years, and whether you're going through a process of divorce or a breakup, he constantly, or she's constantly in your energy, so let's just cut these cords. Listen, honey, I can charge you $200 and perform a ceremony. I promise you right now that these cords will grow back, because we create those cords. Okay, yes, some of these cords go through the karmic contract, the soul contract. But let's now, we've talked about two ways we create cords. So let's talk about how we can actually sever them. And then we're going to talk about cords cutting ceremony, because it is relevant in some cases. If you have a soul contract with someone, so it was destined for the two of you to meet, for you to learn something, for you to grow, for you to break a pattern, even if it's through pain, through humiliation, through abuse, whatever that is. The only way to sever that cord is through closing that contract. If you don't close this contract, if you haven't learned your lesson, if you constantly hate your ex, you have resentment towards your ex, you talk poorly about your ex, no sorcerer, and I am a hell of a sorcerer, no sorcerer, no biggest, most powerful witch on a planet will cut these for you. They will grow back. It's like sitting in a boat that has a huge hole and trying to like get the water out without fixing the issue. They will grow back. It makes no sense. So all those offerings on Etsy and online that you see, send me the name of this person and your photos and I will cut cords, money down the drain. It will grow back until the moment you've learned your lessons. You fully let go. You've neutralized. You no longer think of your ex. You no longer talk about your ex. You no longer have any kind of emotion, be it love, resentment, longing, hate, vengeance, feeling of injustice. Until that exists, it is you who builds that cords. It is you who constantly grow them back. So again, no sorcerer will sever that. Okay, so until you learn that contract, and through learning that contract, you will stop having this person in your energy through thoughts, spells, emotions, feelings, whatever they are. You will be constantly growing these back. Okay, so when we talk about cords cutting, the actual ceremony, there are very rare cords, and I've explained this in that video. They're very, very, very rare cords that cannot be severed, which are red cords, and no matter what you do, no matter what kind of sorcerer you are, you will not sever these, because this is basically one frequency. This is basically one soul in two bodies. So how on earth you could sever that? You cannot sever that, okay? Not even the most powerful sorcerer of the universe could sever that, okay? Don't mess with that. It's bad karma. Again, let's not go into that topic. But regular cords with your ex-partner, maybe with a parent, or maybe with a friend that betrayed you, whatever that is. If you come to me on session to close that karmic contract, to sever these cords, we will always start from reading into your contract. What was the lesson in that contract? Okay, why did the two of you meet? Because if you don't learn that lesson, if you don't point the finger towards yourself, if you don't do shadow work, again, you can pay hundreds of dollars to witches of the internet. They will grow back. I promise you right now, they will grow back. Okay, so we will start here from work, from healing, from shadow work. This is what dissolves the cords. Okay? So now I want to give you a few examples of those very few examples where it actually is valid, and I would actually perform this ceremony with you. So because of those examples, you will learn right now that any healer or witch, or however the charlatans call themselves, take you on a session, or not even take you on a session, but you pay and they do that offline, without having an in-depth shadow work healer to healy conversation. They're charlatans. Because without knowing the situation, this ceremony, whether they actually perform it or not, makes actually no point. Okay? So, a few examples so you understand that it actually makes sense. Number one, let's say you have that ex-partner, ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever that is. And you have been healing. You do understand, looking back, that this person was a karmic connection that I attracted because I didn't love myself enough, because maybe I had worthiness issue, codependency issue. I allowed this person in my energy. I attracted them. I allowed them to stay. I entertained this energy, right? So you've done healing. You've done inner work. You looked inside of yourself for your shadows. You moved on. At this point, you no longer have any kind of emotions. You don't seek vengeance, you don't have resentment, you don't trash them, you don't speak of them, you don't think of them at all. You no longer have positive things. You've neutralized all the feelings. You've neutralized, right? But so you've closed that contract on your end. But somehow they constantly return to your energy. So they either periodically, return, they, start calling you, or popping up at your house, or maybe causing problems. And you really sit with yourself and you no longer know and understand why is this happening, because it's just you feel like you've learned all the lessons. So why is it still happening, right? Sometimes it can happen. We talk about very persistent, scrappy little SOBs that haven't closed that contract on their end. So it's open. They constantly have feelings towards you, whether that's positive or negative. They think of you, they speak of you. They cannot just shake it off. They cannot move on, right? So they constantly rebuild that cord. So if you've done all you can, on your end, you've closed that contract, in that case, that ceremony makes sense, because we're going to perform that cords cutting, okay? And we're going to do a little protection ceremony as well. We're going to release them with love and light and compassion, wish them well. Not Cardi B, I wish you well in hell, but actually, I wish you well, right? Thank you for your service. And that makes sense. Sometimes we're going to have to repeat that a couple of times. Sometimes it's going to be successful at the first time that actually it makes sense. Another situation where it makes sense is, for example, sometimes you lost somebody that you really loved, right? So you may feel like you cannot just properly let this person go, right? But you have loving feelings towards them. So whether it was a positive sort of a separation, or whether we talk about an actual physical loss, there are golden cords between you. So they're loving cords, but they're heavy on your heart, right? So in that case, but again, it's not going to be only that ceremony. It's going to be a ceremony of dissolving these cords with love, when we talk about physical plane of existence. So the spirit of this person and their higher self can always stay with you, but so you can fully detach and let go through the grieving process as well, the physical aspect of them, okay? And the last situation that comes to my mind as an example, and I said this and I'm going to say it again, very powerful cords that are being created through intimacy. So if you maybe had a moment of your life being a man that you would like stick your finger into different pies, or being a lady, you would be, inviting many gentlemen into your garden. So these lessons are rarely, if you really go through that period, they're rarely linked to a specific person, specific contract. It's this constantly repeating lesson of lack of worthiness, lack of understanding that you are worthy, that your body is a temple, that your existence is sacred, that you shouldn't be doing these things, lack of understanding what intimacy really is, and so on and so forth. It comes from a place of very, very low vibration and huge wounding, right? So obviously we're going to have to address that as well. But in those situations, those ceremonies of restoration and dissolving cords, and for example, my 6-month sacral program includes that ceremony of dissolving all the cords that are around your sacral, of any person that you've ever sort of allowed into your sacral energetic space. So it actually makes sense, because those cords they're very powerful, but they're powerful from your end, because you chose to do harm from your end. But these people, they probably are not building back on these cords, because they moved on and they're somewhere, that they've done this harm to themselves as well. But there's no specific per se contract between the two of you. So as you heal, as you understand, we can also dissolve these cords to cleanse your sacral space. So those are the examples. I hope it makes sense. But again, bottom line of this, you build these cords. You have the power to break them. You don't need nor sorcerer. Energy workers like myself, sometimes, we do these ceremonies because, like I said, certain examples that you guys struggle, but whenever you come to me with those kind of things, you know that we're going to start from shadow work. We know we're going to start from looking towards yourself, from looking into that contract. Because as long as you close the contract, as long as you learn your lesson, as long as you let go of the emotions, of the feelings, you let go of that person. It's a classic projection. The most common case is where people come to me to cut these cords because my ex is constantly in my business. You call him in. It is you. You cannot forgive yourself for allowing this person in your life. You cannot forgive yourself for accepting this person in your life. You don't have the courage to look inwards, to take accountability that this person was part of your life. And all this hate and resentment that you have towards yourself, you're projecting on them. And through that projection, you're building these cords. You're energetically calling on them every time you think of them, you speak their name, and you feel any kind of emotion towards them. So it is you. As long as we address that, again, no sorcerer with no black candle can cut these cords. It is just impossible. They will grow back. I really hope you understand. Again, if you want to spend your money. But I also appeal to people who do these things, because I wouldn't even take that money. Even if someone would want to pay me $500 for performing a ceremony without session, without shadow work, without looking into contracts, saying, I don't want to do any kind of work. It's him. He's this SOB, the pig. It's him. It's all him. Just cut the cord. I wouldn't take that money. It's bad energy. It's bad karma. You guys, it has nothing to do with spirituality. It has nothing to do with Christ consciousness, with what we learn here on this channel. So just don't stay in denial. Really don't stay in denial. And if you feel like paying those amounts of money, give them to charity for animals and orphans and poor people in this world. And then just pray to God for these cords to show you the way to dissolve them, because this ceremony, it's or even you can get yourself a handbag. That's going to do you better. That's going to make you feel better, because these ceremonies will not help you.